Le Creuset is a 100-year-old brand known for their Dutch ovens, which cost upwards of $400. This cookware company was cruising along in the background for most of its existence until they were launched back into the spotlight by something that the company could have never seen coming: a pandemic-induced global obsession with sourdough bread. Now, for those of you who were triggered by my pronunciation of Le Creuset in that first sentence, obviously, as a French-speaking Canadian, I know the proper pronunciation of French words, and I'm not gonna mess it up again. See, COVID-19 changed the world in many ways, but perhaps most surprisingly is it made one of the least convenient ways to make bread very popular again. Hours and hours of downtime at home, we were all suddenly reminded of the simpler times of our past. People were looking for something real and tangible, and for some reason, millions of people found comfort in making sourdough bread. And the only way to make good sourdough bread is with a Dutch oven, and the most famous Dutch oven in the world is Le Creuset, properly pronounced Le Creuset, before you go to the comment section. Like, I did that to kind of like get you mad, and if you did get mad, then I got you. So the sourdough craze might have happened in 2020, but Le Creuset had actually been around for almost 100 years by this point, just waiting in the wings for the collapse of the world for everyone to take comfort in bread making. The company was founded in 1925 in France by two Belgian dudes, I guess. One was in the iron casting business and the other was in the enameling business. And they were like, hey, with our powers combined, we could make the most durable cookware in the galaxy. And thus, Le Creuset is born. They introduced their famous Dutch oven that very year, and almost a century later, it is still their most popular product. And besides a few small upgrades, the design honestly hasn't really changed that much. But why was this so revolutionary? In case you are not a sourdough head and you're sitting there thinking, why is everybody so obsessed with a giant pot? Well, the answer is very short and simple. It's because they last a long time. So in our research, our writers learned that cooking on cast iron has been a thing since like 500 BC, but it wasn't particularly popular until the 19th century. And even with the rise of stainless steel and non-stick cookware and fads like our place, basically cast iron has long been recognized as one of the most durable cooking materials that we've ever invented. Also, if you want to learn more about the whole ceramic cookware trend with our place and companies like that, we've also made a video about them. So if you enjoy this video, consider checking out that one after. The downside, of course, with cast iron is that you can't stick them in the dishwasher with the rest of your stuff. You have to clean them in a very particular way to keep them seasoned so they don't rust. But the thing that Le Creuset did was that they coated the cast iron in enamel. This makes it way more convenient to use because you can basically just wash it like everything else, and it's easier to maintain because the enamel keeps it from rusting as well. But any good sourdough baker worth their pinch of salt will tell you that the reason why people love these things is because they retain their heat. Basically, these things act like a tiny little oven inside of your oven, hence the name Dutch oven. I guess Dutch because it was made by Belgians in France, and those countries are close to the Netherlands where they speak Dutch. That seems like a detail that's not actually important, but like I feel like I want to know now. Now, sure, you can make sourdough bread in any kind of container. You could be microwaving that shit in a plastic Tupperware container for all I care. But according to the pros, the Dutch oven makes it way easier and way better. It evenly bakes the sourdough bread, and it gives it that nice crispy golden top that gives it that crunchy sound when you bite into it or you cut into it. I had like a little moment where like I actually imagined the smell and the taste of sourdough bread in my brain when I described that. I hope you did too. Now, the Dutch oven as a concept is interesting, sure. It is a technology that has shaped the human history since its invention, but we probably wouldn't be making this video about it if it wasn't for the 2020 pandemic, which sparked the sourdough craze. There has been a lot of articles written about why exactly sourdough was the chosen pandemic activity that everybody got into. One pontificating philosopher, and by that we mean a writer at Refinery 29, said that the word starter holds more promise and optimism than anything currently on the news. It might be corny as hell, but she's kind of not wrong. Making sourdough was a welcome distraction from all the terrible, right? And it made you feel like you were a part of something besides a devastating plague. People named their sourdough starters and tracked their growth on social media like a proud bread parent would do. And it felt good to have something to look forward to, even if that something was just a cutie little boule coming out of your oven, your Dutch oven. I speak warmly of this because my wife and I actually got involved in this trend in a big way. The process was something that I think we as millennials grabbed onto because it felt like the opposite of our fast-paced consumer world, and in the pandemic, we needed that. Because here's the thing about sourdough. It takes a long time. Baking one loaf of bread means the maintenance of this starter that is like a tiny little living thing, and then making the bread takes literally days of waiting for the bread to proof, and then you have to bake it with all the right equipment and learn how to use it. If you can make a sourdough bread, you feel like a self-sufficient baddie who could survive an apocalypse or something, as long as you have that $400 Dutch oven. Now, we personally don't have a Le Creuset product. We were gifted something from Costco, I think, and it works pretty dandy. And we're gonna get into the difference between Le Creuset and their competitors later in the video. But what is safe to say is that Le Creuset was one of the few companies that had a really good year in 2020. As the pandemic drug on, amateur bakers became sourdough masters, which meant that it was time to upgrade their cooking gear and start a sourdough YouTube channel or something. It's truly a travesty that we don't have any data on how many people spent their stimulus checks on Dutch ovens, because I'm sure it's not insignificant. Now, Le Creuset is a privately owned company that doesn't have to report its annual earnings, but judging by the social craze alone, it is safe to say that their Dutch ovens started flying off the shelves faster than you can say 3 Tiger Kings 3 times. 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 Why did I say 3 Tiger Kings 3 times? Am I becoming unhinged? However, I hate to say it, it looks like our pandemic-induced sourdough craze is behind us, and most people have gone back to eating microwaved frozen waffles instead of making their own bread. However, the pandemic changed the way that we looked at cooking at home, and Le Creuset cashed in big time. So in my mind, there are two reasons why Le Creuset was perfectly positioned to take advantage of this pandemic. One, their legacy as a high-quality, long-term brand, and the internetification of our cooking. Le Creuset might not have been the first to ever make a Dutch oven as we know it today, but they're certainly the longest-standing name in the game. But they aren't just the oldest, they are also very, very good. So as I kind of hinted to earlier, we have to mention that in basically every Dutch oven comparison article online, they point out that Lodge Dutch ovens easily go toe-to-toe with Le Creuset in terms of quality, durability, and longevity. They also, in many cases, look like an almost identical product, but the major difference here is that they come with an $80 price tag instead of $400. One of the reasons why I think there isn't that much of a difference between, say, the Costco brand that we got and Le Creuset's product is that there isn't a whole lot that goes into it. It's cast iron with enamel around it. But the Le Creuset fanatics would say that there is a totally justifiable price difference, and these are their talking points that we found online, probably through Reddit, because where else would it be? First, Le Creuset still uses the same foundry in northern France to manufacture their signature products, and it's a very hands-on process, unlike Lodge cookware, which is mass-produced in China. Le Creuset's owner has been quoted saying that it would be half the price to manufacture the same product in Asia, but that it would go against the company's commitment to quality. Secondly, according to their website, each piece passes through the hands of 15 artisans before it's approved, and 30% of the pieces don't pass inspection because of the brand's rigorous standards. See, apparently Le Creuset manufactures their metal and enamel in-house, which supposedly means that the materials mix together better than the cheap brands because they have like this secret fine-tuned recipe for the materials that they don't share with the public or something. But that's all kind of conjecture at this point because there's no other way for us to verify this other than them saying it. One thing that is very cool though from Le Creuset is that it comes with a lifetime guarantee, meaning that you can take them your broken ass Dutch oven that you bought like 50 years ago and theoretically get a replacement for it. So the answer to whether or not Le Creuset products are priced so high because of their quality or their brand recognition is yes. Le Creuset has a great story, an impressive legacy, and the build quality to back it up. But you can have the best, most colorful pots in the game, but nobody is going to spend $400 of their pandemic relief money on it unless all the right things come together at the right time. The aesthetic of this brand, combined with their legendary status, makes them a centerpiece for your kitchen that has now come to represent a big part of your identity. With TikTok recipes becoming one of the most popular categories online and the explosion of cooking content all across the internet from creators of all niches, cooking food is no longer a chore to be done by mom, but a personality trait for the internet generation. Just like how people buy certain clothes or cars to represent their identity, Le Creuset represents a new layer of self-identification. The Le Creuset sitting on your shelf says that you like to cook, of course, but also it shows that you know quality when you see it, and most importantly, that you have the money to buy it. In many cases, I think that buying a pot because it makes you feel cool is not the reason to buy a pot, but how Le Creuset has become this brand is kind of amazing. You know how we said the design of their Dutch oven really hasn't changed over the last 100 years? Well, it's technically true, but Le Creuset has gotten into the game of releasing trendy limited time Dutch ovens, like their pumpkin oven and their Pride-themed Dutch Loven. Just call me McLovin. That's a super bad reference for anyone younger than me who doesn't know that movie.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
So let's look at this for a second. We have Le Creuset, which sells products that are designed to last a lifetime, but now they're doing it in limited edition batches. They have fostered a collector's item culture around Le Creuset. This encourages true die-hard fans to keep buying more because they're only available for a limited time, and just like Pokemon, you gotta have them all. And this kind of marketing started long before the pandemic ever did. In 1987, Le Creuset was acquired by an African company, and this buyout resulted in massive global growth and an expansion of the company's product lines. Part of that expansion has included collaborating with other companies like Disney, which is why you can now get Dutch ovens to match your favorite princess. That just feels kind of wrong. Come on. Even within their normal product lines, Le Creuset has added a few modern touches to their Dutch ovens over the years, and they look really cute and fashionable. Le Creuset has achieved something really interesting here that not a lot of brands have been able to do, which is that they've kept up with the trends while also maintaining their status of a high-quality product. Professional chefs still swear by using Le Creuset cookware in their restaurants, and regular people feel good about owning a high-quality piece of cookware displayed on their shelves in their kitchen for everyone to see. Now, this is one of many stories that we could cover on this YouTube channel, but we don't have time for all of them, and we don't always know what we should make videos about next. If you have suggestions of things that you would like to see here, go and check out our Reddit page. We take suggestions from there quite often, and we engage with our community there as well. And if you did like today's video, remember to literally like it and subscribe if you want to see new videos every single week.